Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulihi. Amma ba'd. We're going to continue with Surah 2, verse 184, in our discussion on the fasting, in particular the fasting of the month of Ramadan that's coming up. And today we're going to continue on verse 184, in which we have gone over the grammar and some keyword definitions along with comments. So today we're going to look at the tafsir of Jalalain on the same verse. And we will also make comments as we go through the tafsir. And let us remember also this Wednesday's presentation is in line with the Mali classes, with the more advanced classes. So that's why we're using the Arabic, reading the Arabic as we're doing tonight. And it's good as you're developing your reading skills of the Qur'an to look and see how Arabic defines Arabic, how Arabic is speaking about Arabic. This will help develop your reading skills, and it will help develop your comprehension. So this is actually geared towards the more advanced students of Mali. But I'm sure, and I always hope, that those of you who are listening that are not as advanced or maybe do not know Arabic, you will still benefit from me speaking in English, of course. So let us begin reading. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. With the name Allah, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer. Ayyaman ma'adudatin. فَمَنْ كَانَ مِنْكُمْ مَرِيضًا أَوْ عَلَى سَفَرٍ. So we have gone over the grammar and some of the meaning of the word, so I will now repeat the grammar here. So it is saying days, a numbered days. A numbered days. فَمَنْ, then whoever, كَانَ مِنْكُمْ, was from you. Sick. So whoever was sick from you, or على سفر, on a journey. فَإِدَّةٌ, then it is a period. It is a period min أيام أخرى, of other days. Then it is a period of other days. So some of the, we call them mufassir, those who make comments on the Qur'an, and those who give their understanding of the Qur'an, because it's saying a period, فَإِدَّةٌ, they are saying that, they would say that when you're making up your days, if you miss certain, whatever number of days you miss in your fasting during the month of Ramadan, when you make them up, you make them all up in one period, meaning that you make all of the days up consecutively. That gives you one period. So even if you don't miss them consecutively, so if you miss 5 days and the 5 days were not consecutive days of missing, when you make them up, the 5 days up, you make them up in one period. This is the understanding that some give of the idea of iddatun min ayamin of other days, of the other days, of other days, the period of other days. وَعَلَى الَّذِينَ, and upon those يُطِيقُونَهُ, they are able to do it. Now, here, we're going to discuss it. Says fidyatun, and upon those who are able to do it, fidyatun, meaning a ransom, ta'amul miskin, the feeding of a poor person. So we're going to discuss this passage here. There are different understandings that you may get from this. فَمَنْ تَتَوَّعَ خَيْرًا, and whoever volunteers or offers a good, فَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَهُ, then it is good for him. وَأَنْ تَصُومُوا, and that you fast, خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ, is better for you. And that fasting is better for you. We will explain this also. In kuntum ta'lamun, if you know, if you were knowing, fasting is better for you. So, what I want to point out as we go through the tafsir now, because we're reading the Qur'an in Arabic, in Arabic without the translation, we're going to see from the grammar, from the marks of the grammar, the ending. It gives us the grammatical position of the words, how this Qur'an could be read differently by different people, and which would give us a different perception on things. And that's okay. That's okay. We don't have to be hard when we're reading and what we're seeing and perceiving in the reading. That everybody has to read and comprehend and get the same perception. That's not natural. But what I want you to see is how you read the Qur'an in Arabic, and there may be words that have been omitted that we feel that we will still understand what's being said. If that's a good way to say that. So look and see how, if you read the Qur'an in Arabic without the English translation, and see the difference. So now he's saying, ayaman. We start with ayaman ma'adudatin. Those two words. So he's saying, ayaman nusiba bisiyami. Nusiba bisiyami. Meaning that it is in the accusative. It is in the accusative by siyam. By siyam, meaning that fast. Bisiyami, meaning fast. Fast a number. Fast here is days. Al bisumu, meaning fast. This is the command. Fast a number. So siyam or sumu would be implied. It will be implied. Sumu ayaman. And this is what muqaddaran meaning implied. It's implied, but not written. It's understood, but not written. Fast a numbered days. Ma'adudatin, that is to say, qala'ilun aw mu'aqqatatun, meaning a small number, numbered days, meaning a small number, or mu'aqqatatun, or a scheduled number. بعدد معلوم, by a known number, a prescribed number. So it is saying here, though, as we said in our last presentation, it's fast a numbered days, but it's a small number. It's not all year. It's a small number. And we're going to talk about this as we talk about the idea of Ramadan, the month of Ramadan, being a ritual month that will come up in future conversations, inshallah, or God willing. So it's a small number or a scheduled number of known ma'loom. Ma'loom is known number, a known number. وهي, and it is Ramadan. كما سيأتي, as we will mention, or as it will come. We will talk about Ramadan when it comes. وقلله تسهيلا على المكلفين. And he shortens it to make it easy, tasheelan, to make it easy or for easement upon those who have been obligated. So, of fasting. So the idea is Ramadan. I'm going to give you the idea here and the idea that comes from this, and supporting a logic of Ramadan that I will be speaking about, is that when we get to it, we're going to talk about Ramadan as a ritual. The month of Ramadan, and talking about fasting in the month of Ramadan, is talking about a ritual that's performed during the month of Ramadan. And this ritual has been shortened, meaning that there's a large body of knowledge that is contained in rituals. That's one reason we do rituals, in order to remember the scripture and remember the large body of knowledge that's contained. That sometimes the body of knowledge can be too much for us to even conceive. So it's put into a small container. A large body of knowledge is put into a small container called the Ramadan fast. Instead of it being stretched out, the fasting for many months and months to come. This idea, I'm going to come back to it again, that we're getting from here. This idea. But I want you to remember when we're talking about religion. We're talking about religion and we're talking about rituals. How a large and a very vast amount of knowledge can be held in a small container. فمن كان منكم which means and whoever was from you, literally. So here he's saying it means hina shuhudihi. Hina shuhudihi. During its witnessing, meaning whoever that was from you and the beginning of the month has been witnessed or has began. We will talk about how the beginning of the month starts. Hina shuhudihi. And remember, because I am going to be establishing my argument. And the argument is based upon some things that we're saying. That it's witnessing, we will talk about how the month begins and witnessing the month. And then we will talk about bi'adadin ma'lumin, meaning a known number, or mu'aqqatat, a scheduled number, a scheduled or a known number. That will be a small number, relatively speaking, when we understand this idea of Ramadan, the ritual. Maridan, it says, and whoever was from you, Maridan, sick. That's the order of the words. Sick, Maridan. Aw ala safarin, or on a journey, or traveling. That is to say, musafiran, a traveler, safara al-qasri. Safara al-qasri, and this is the travel of shortening. And that is the travel of shortening the prayers, we would say. This is the idea, the travel of shortening the prayers. That when we are traveling, during the travel, we can shorten the prayers. Meaning that for the Fajr prayer, there are two units. Two units we say rakat, or I'm going to say units. Translating the word rakat as a unit. There are two units. We do not shorten the two units of the Fajr. Fajr is the dawn prayer, before the sunrise. At dawn, before the sunrise. Then we have the noon prayer, and the noon prayer is after the sun passes the zenith. That's the language. But it's at noon, at a certain point at noon. That's the noon prayer. The noon prayer consists of 4 units. 4 units, and we're talking about the obligated prayer. There are 4 units, so you can shorten those 4 to 2. And then you have the afternoon, which is called Asr. It has 4 units. You can shorten those 4 units to 2. Because of you traveling. And then Maghrib is not shortened. It's 3 units, and the 3 units are not shortened. And then for Isha, the 5th one, there are 4 units, and you can shorten those 4 units to 2 units. Now, the idea here, well, it explains it here, but he's saying here that when you're also traveling, that if your travel calls you to shorten the prayers, the travel will also cause you to break the fast. وَأَجْهَدَهُ الصَّوْمُ فِي الْحَالَيْنِ. And the fast strains him, or strains it, in both conditions. In the idea of you traveling, and you shorten the prayer has to be shortened when you're traveling because it is straining, and the fast, it also makes it difficult. It's a strain on you. The prayer and the fasting are both strains on you. So they're shortened, and the fasting is omitted. Because we're not talking about the prayers per se, there's some things that could be said about the prayer. I won't go into it, because there's the idea of combining prayers also. Combining prayers when traveling. And sometimes when I won't go into it. I won't waste the time, use the time. This is the idea of giving you some type of measure. Now, this is, understand, this that I'm reading is a comment on the verse. It's not something written in stone. The Qur'an, you cannot differ. You don't differ with the Qur'an, though you may have a different perception. Because this is the one text, the one writing that we can't differ with, is the Qur'an. Now here, he's given a commentary on the Qur'an, and the commentary, you can differ with the commentary if you have a different perception of what's being said. But you still have to be able to show your support for whatever you're saying, not just differ just to be different, or have an opinion, just have an opinion. Your opinion has to be an informed opinion. And if you're having a perception of the Qur'an, it's good to have the Qur'an to back up or to give explanation for the Qur'an. That's the best commentary of the Qur'an is the Qur'an itself. فَأَفْتِرَ meaning then break the fast. So if you find it to be straining in your travel, then you break the fast. That's what he's giving here. And this is what Allah gives us. Allah gives it to us, just as Allah gives us the fast. And we shouldn't travel. We shouldn't travel so much so and not accept what Allah has given us in terms of breaking the fast. Because the fast, we're not fasting in order to show how strong we are. We're fasting in obedience to show our obedience to Allah, though fasting may be difficult for some, even without traveling. But nevertheless, even a person like that, the first time fasting, or they're not used to fasting, or they're weakened from fasting, maybe they break their fast on a shorter traveling distance than one who may travel longer. The general rule that we get from the life of Muhammad the Prophet is that if you're traveling, And you can be traveling in a group. Those who break their fast do not say anything about those who do not break their fast. And those who break their fast do not say, or those who do not break their fast do not say anything about those who are breaking their fast. Don't be arguing with people whether or not you should fast or not when traveling. If you break your fast, you break your fast. If you don't break your fast, you don't break your fast. But don't argue about it. If you're arguing about it, you should not have broken the fast. Because arguing is part of the restraint that you should have upon yourself during the month of Ramadan. And arguing, if you take it from those of us who are experiencing fasting, arguing makes the fast more difficult. Just a point to make, because you see it a lot. Or someone asking, are you fasting? Are you fasting? You shouldn't ask someone if they're fasting, unless it's someone new and you're teaching them. But to ask if someone's fasting, and then you're going to bring that hammer of law down upon them, no, that's not the proper conduct. Fasting is for Allah. فَإِدَّةٌ So he's saying here, فَعَلَيْهِ إِدَّةٌ مَا أَفْتَرَى. So he says, then upon him is a period, Iddatu ma is a period of what aftara, what he broke his fast. This is Iddatu, which I explained earlier. Min ayamin ukhara, of other days, yasumuha badalahu, meaning he fasts it as its substitute. But again, we're saying upon him is a period. Iddatu ma, a period of what he broke his fast, and he fasts it as its substitute. Other days. You take a period of other days and you fast them consecutively, making it a period, one period of fasting. وَعَلَى الَّذِينَ, and upon those, now he's putting here, لَا يُتِيقُونَهُ. So this is the discussion here. And upon those who is not able to do it, meaning that kibarin aw maradin. This is, they're not able to do it because of likibarin, for old age, or maradin, or sickness. Old age or sickness. Then they are not able to fast. It will be related to what we're talking about, sumu. They're not able to fast. Let yurja bura'ahu, meaning then and that which there is no hope of its recovery. there's a sickness and there's no hope of its recovery. Meaning that you may have a sickness that's going to last the duration of the month or even more, that you don't intend to recover from it. Like someone who's a diabetic. If you're a diabetic, it's a kind of a sickness and you have to eat. Because for the one who have diabetes, food is part of your medication. And you have to eat at certain times during the day. So you do not try to fast when you're sick. Like with diabetes, for example, and you hurt yourself trying to fast. You want to obey Allah in fasting, and you're hurting yourself because someone is suggesting to you, and we get this, that you should obey Allah, and Allah will provide for you. But Allah also is the same one who's telling you to fast, who's telling you to break your fast. So you have to obey Allah in breaking the fast. That's an obedience to Allah also. And to make it up. Either make it up or we're going to come to fidyatun. It is a ransom. So if you're older, you're the elderly, and fasting, you will hurt yourself fasting, then you should break your fast. If you're up in age or if you're sick, and fasting, you find fasting is difficult for you, especially those who have fasted and have been fasting, and now fasting has become difficult. Then you have fidyatun. He says, fidyatun hiya ta'amu miskin. So hiya would be understood. And even you would put hiya here. He says, wa ala ladina yutikunahu fidyatun. So fidyatun, we dealt with the grammar, would be a fidyatun would go here. Not there. Let me put it in the right place to be here. But fidyatun we could say it's with such and such is a fidyatun ala ladina yutikunahu. And we can in terms of as we go, we can come back and I can show you what you will put in here. Such and such is a fidyatun. Fidyatun could be the predicate of a subject that has dropped, or it could be the subject, a delayed subject of a predicate that has been dropped. I believe Abu Faris said it was a delayed subject, but that's how you understand the reading. Then ta'amu miskin, in this kind of reading, ta'amu would be a badalun to fidyatun. Ta'amu miskin, the feeding of a poor person. But he put the hiya. The hiya will be implied, meaning to make this a separate phrase. It is the feeding of a poor person. So such and such upon those who are not able is a fidyatun, is a ransom. Such and such upon those who are not able to do it is a ransom. It is the feeding of a poor person. Now, that's how this latter is being implied, and the understanding is who is not able to fast. I, for miskin, that is to say, qadaru ma ya'kuluhu fi yawmihi, that is to say, a measure or a portion or a measure of what? A measure of what? And then he eats what he eats in his day. A measure of what he eats in his day. That's the poor person. وَهُوَ مُدٌّ, and it is we could say mudun is we could say the measure, or it is an extent of Ghalibi Kuti al-Baladi, of the greater portion, Ghalibi, we're going to say the greater portion of the nourishment of the town. Meaning that we have a certain amount of food that in a meal that will give a person the proper nourishment according to the life that is lived in the state of Michigan, if I'm from Michigan. So we have charts. I think there are charts that will show you what's a well-rounded meal. A well-rounded meal is what you would give them. You would feed someone that they get the proper nourishment. We know that's a big thing now. A lot of people eat, and the food that they're eating, though it could be GMO or other types of foods, or people just eat the wrong foods, and they do not get the proper nourishment that they should get. Maybe they do not eat vegetables. They eat all meat and no vegetables. No starch, so forth and so on. So you can hurt yourself. You're not getting all of the proper nourishment. So he's saying here that you would feed a person, you would feed a poor person according to the measure of what he eats, meaning that if he doesn't eat 10 pounds of food in a meal, don't give him 10 pounds. Give him the measure of what he eats. But within that measure of what he eats, you are to give him the better of the portion or the nourishment that is called for in the meal. You want to give him a meal of what he normally eats with the proper nourishment within the meal that's called for by that state or the government, whatever the government has declared to be the proper nourishment in a meal. I don't want to say like a Happy Meal, because I know a lot of Muslims will jump on me from going to McDonald's getting a Happy Meal. But sometimes they may say everything in a Happy Meal is the proper nourishment as a well-rounded meal. Something of that example. Now, I know I'm going to Muslim hell for bringing up McDonald's, but I'm trying to make a point here. Not that I know anything about McDonald's. Look, Humor. Likulli yawmin, of each day. Each day. So each day, you feed a poor person. Each day, that you have to break your fast because you're either elderly or sick. Now, the traveling, you make it up. Or if you're sick and you're going to be well, you make it up. But if it's a sickness and there's no hope for recovery, then you feed someone. Because it's an ongoing sickness. So that's where you have the fidya. Right? And then those days, of course, are not made up. Now he's going to explain to us وَفِي قِرَاءَةِ فِدْيَةٌ طَعَامُ الْمِسْكِينِ. And in the reading here, which we read, فِدْيَةٌ طَعَامُ الْمِسْكِينِ بِإِضَافَةِ فِدْيَةٌ. fidya. It is the idafa of fidya. Now, I'm going to explain what I think he's saying here. Is that fidya would be, here you had fidyatun. Fidyatun we had, if you put it in the idafa construction, meaning the possessive construct, it would read fidyatu ta'ami miskin. It would be the ransom of the feeding of the poor, of a poor. It would be a dhamma here and a kasra here. Okay. And some say that this would be a kasra, fidyati, the ami miskin, reflecting back upon al-ladina. But I would read it, if I read it in the possessive construct, it will be fidyatu ta'ami miskin. So let's go back and so we can see it clear if we don't see it here, for those that can't follow. He would say, well, alladhina yutikunahu, where we have the khabar. The khabar is dropped. The predicate is dropped. Alladhina yutikunahu. Then we say, fidyatu ta'ami miskinin, is the ransom of the feeding of the poor. That's one way. Or the other way that we were showing is that hiya is implied to make it a separate phrase. That's the other way he was showing it. That hiya, we would say fidyatun, and then we say hiya ta'amul miskin. That's another way. Another way would be fidyatun ta'amul miskin, the way it is in the Qur'an, and it will be fidyatun, making it clear what fidyatun is, the feeding of a poor person. So he says, lil bayinani, for the clarity of both. Wahiyya lil bayinani, and it is for the clarity of both. Meaning that the fidya, the ransom, it is the feeding of the poor and the ransom of the feeding of the poor, and both is clear. It's clear in both in what is being said. Wakila, and it is said, la gairu muqaddaratin, that this la here is not implied. Where he's talking about a grammar now, where he has this la here. This la, he's saying, is implied. Meaning that if you're not able to do it, then there's a ransom. So now, if the la is not implied, the la is not implied, he's saying, وَكَانُوا مُخَيِّرِينَ فِي صَدْرِ الْإِسْلَامِ بَيْنَ الصَّوْمِ وَالْفِدْيَةِ. And they were choosing in the beginning of al-Islam between fasting and a ransom. So if the la is not applied, if it's not implied, then we're saying, and those upon those who are able to do it, is a ransom. They're taking either they can ransom, offer the ransom, or they can fast. Summa then nasikha or nusikha bi ta'yini as-sawmi bi qawlihi. Then later on it was abrogated by being specific in terms of the fast, by specifying the fast. We could say it was abrogated. This idea was abrogated by specifying the fast. Now, as I mentioned before, in light of what we're saying here, there are some people that are able to fast, but they're new at fasting. And because they're new at fasting, of not eating or drinking anything from dawn to sunset, they may be weak. They may be weak in keeping the fast, even though they can, but they're just weak at it. So they may so in the early days of Islam, those who were new to fasting, they exercised the option of breaking their fast and feeding someone, then fasting. Until the revelation comes, فَمَنْ شَهِدَ مِنْكُمْ الشَّهْرَ فَلْيَصُمْهُ. Then whoever witnesses of you the month, then let him fast. So this came as an abrogation to those who did not obligate themselves to fast. Instead of fasting, they would choose to feed someone. Now, this situation may still be with those who are new. And there's a group that's new, a Muslim group that's new to fasting, and they look for excuses or reasons to shorten the day, or they eat beyond the time. Some people, you get up before dawn. You're to eat a small meal. It's called suhoor. Suhoor is not eggs, bacon, potatoes, grits. That's not suhoor. Suhoor is a small meal. It's not a big breakfast. Don't get the idea that if you eat a big breakfast, it's going to hold you all day. You may be hurting yourself. And the word suhoor means it gives you the idea that just a small meal is going to hold you all day. But you can't see, how can a small meal hold me all day? But this is the suhoor. It's a small meal. Actually, during Ramadan, you're putting yourself in the position to experience the condition of the poor who doesn't have a lot of food. That's one of the ideas that you're getting, one of the lessons that you're getting from Ramadan. So don't try to stuff yourself in the morning. Now, some, they feel they can't take it. So the light has come, the sun, they get up late, they still have to eat that meal. When you eat that meal, you're intentionally breaking the fast. If you eat after the dawn, the light of dawn, or what we call Fajr, if you want to look on your prayer sheets, your prayer charts, whatever, it's Fajr. If you eat after that period, you have literally broken the fast, especially if you eat intentionally. Sometimes you may eat something unintentionally. Once I was out on the grill during Ramadan. I'm on the grill preparing the meal for later. and I inadvertently went to take the meat. But my daughter caught me before I put it in my mouth. You know, in that case, if I had put it in my mouth or even had eaten it, it would be unintentional, and I have not broken the fast. But if you break the fast intentionally, actually you're supposed to make up 60 days of fasting as one period. That's if you intentionally break the fast. But we have people that are new. They're new. They may be weak. They're not that strong. They're not that disciplined. And this is the idea that the Muslims took at the beginning of Al-Islam. When Al-Islam was new to them, they would feed someone. This idea. Now, some of us, we want to propagate the religion to each other and want each other to be tough, so we would never talk like this. Because we want everybody should be fasting. You're 80 years old, you should be fasting. Everybody should be fasting. We don't want to see anyone eating during the daytime because you're supposed to fast. Allah say, fast, fast. We were like that. But now, some of us understand that some of us are getting old. And some of us are getting sick and other conditions. And then we see those who are new when we knew at a time we were new at it. So we're not to be harsh with each other. Don't be so harsh with each other, but we can encourage each other. Just encourage each other, but don't be harsh with each other, especially during the month of Ramadan. And of course, there are some people who never did fast. They were weak, they didn't fast, and it shows. But even with them, you're not harsh. You're not say, hey, you don't fast. I can tell you're not fasting, so forth and so on. And some people, they don't fast. They find it difficult, and they feed someone. Qala Ibn Abbas. So Ibn Abbas said, إلا الحاملة إلا الحاملة, except the pregnant, the one who is pregnant. Well, المرضعي, or the one who is giving birth, or the like the midwife. I believe that's the midwife, Maradai, or the pregnant, or the one who's like the midwife who feeds the child. Either if when they break the fast, khawfan, in terms of fear. So except for the one who's pregnant or the midwife, when they both break the fast out of fear, ala al-waladi, out of fear of upon the child. فَإِنَّهَا بَاكِيَةٌ, then it remains. The idea, it remains that they may break the fast or they may keep the fast. The idea remains. بلا نسخ في حقهما, meaning that without it being an abrogation in its right, or its validation. So it is saying that the first idea, let's see, the idea is that The first idea that if they're not able to, that remains. That idea remains for those who are pregnant, who's pregnant, or even after childbirth, or they are feeding the child, nursing the child, or the nurse. That's the word, the nurse. They're nursing. If they fear that their fasting is going to, in some way, hurt the child, then, and they don't want to fast, they don't have to fast. So it's still, if they're not able to. And it's their choice. فَمَنْ تَتَوَّعَ خَيْرًا, and whoever volunteers a good, بِزِيَادَةِ عَلَى الْقَدْرِ الْمَذْكُورِ فِي الْفِدْيَةِ, meaning by increasing, or it could be the redundance of the portion mentioned in the fidya, meaning whoever volunteers in addition to fast, they fast and they give. We could say biziyadati. They're going to do it by increasing, by fasting, and they feed someone, because you find this a lot. You find this a lot in the amongst Muslims during Ramadan. Though you're fasting, you also feed someone also. فهو then it is ayatatawu, or the volunteering, khayrun lahum, is good for them, or good for him. And this we should try to do, because there are people that we can find due to, especially, I'm going to say, due to mental conditions, we find them, they're not able to have food, or we feed a lot of places now. We have the food pantries. We have people that come to the masjids, to the mosque, and they're being fed on the weekend. This is good. And we should give sadaqah. We should give sadaqah to make sure people are, for those who are going to be fed, and even sadaqah to feed those who are Muslim and they're fasting, but food may be difficult for them. So we want to make sure that they break their fast. And this is also good. This is what we mean by volunteering. You fast and you give sadaqah for someone to break their fast, or you feed someone. This is all good. This is voluntary, and it's all good. وَأَن تَصُومُوا, and that you fast, he says, مُبْتَدَأٌ وَأَن. So this "and" here, this "and" becomes the mubtada'un, meaning that it's the subject. And tasumu is what we're going to call the relative phrase of "and." It's the relative phrase of "and," meaning it would be "and that's fasting." Because he's going to say khabaruhu, and its predicate is khayrun lakum. So its predicate is khayrun. So this "and" would be the mubtada, and that is, and now khayrun now becomes better. Instead of good, it would be better. And that is better for you, that being tasumu, you fasting. I hope you're following in this. Those of you who are studying the Arabic, we're being very, very specific here. He's being, and this is a short commentary, but he's being very specific in terms of reading the Arabic correctly, because you're only reading the Arabic without this commentary. He's giving commentary to make so you can see how to read the Arabic clearly, grammatically, based upon, again, his perception, grammatical perception of the words. You go to another grammarian or someone who's writing commentary, they may have a different idea on the reading. But it's okay to be different. So I'm just showing you this one reading that is rather short. These are short commentaries. Some can get long and drawn out. But these presentations I'm making, and some of them are going to get a little more elaborate, but we're just rehearsing this, preparing for the fast. And those that are listening or they go and listen to the recording, they may get ideas from this that will help them in their fasting, the month of Ramadan. Those of you who are listening that's not Muslim, you are getting ideas about Ramadan and the Muslim fast. How the Muslim fast and the rules of fasting, how they are developed from the Qur'an, these rules. So here, akhiru, because khayrun is a word that we may have had it in Abu Faris, that lets us know that the hamza is dropped in most of the usages. And this is a comparative. It's in the comparative sense. Then we would say, and that is better. That is better for you. That is better for you. Akhiru. But we drop the hamza and it has khayrun. So here we say khayrun and here we say khayrat. This one it says volunteering is good. And here we say fasting is better. Min al-iftari wal-fidyati, from breaking and giving the ransom. It's better, fasting is better. So you see here if we read the verse in context now, in context it's read, it would seem to read that there was a choice. There was a choice of fasting or breaking the fast and then giving the ransom for breaking the fast. That was the choice of the early Muslims. But now it's saying that if you offer for a voluntary good, something good, in terms of the ransom, that's good, but fasting is better. Even if you do the ransom, it's good. So Allah is not, you can see here that the Qur'an is not being so rigid. It's not being rigid in the sense that for those who find it difficult, because Allah does not want to place difficulty on us. He doesn't want to be harsh. But He wants our actions to be reconciled with our faith. Now, that's something I learned this past weekend from Imam Wahyuddin Sharif. Yes, he didn't say it that way, but I learned that from him. For a long time, I've been looking at this expression, Amanu wa amilu salihat, faith, and it's translated good works. But since he brought my attention to it, it's faith. We want to have faith in God, and we want to work, and our work to reconcile with what our faith is. That's how we want to be. And there's another way. There's two ways in Ramadan to reconcile. The faith is won by your deeds. Your deeds and your actions are based upon what you say you believe. The faith that you carry in your heart, your actions reconcile and show that. What's in your heart agrees with your deeds, your work, your actions. Also, sadaqah is a way to confirm your faith. That is in the idea of volunteering a good. And you can give something of money so someone can buy a meal, or you can purchase a meal for them. Either way, that's a confirmation of your faith. That's an act that's confirming your faith. And Ramadan is a month that you want to do. You want to do actions. You want to show actions and deeds and works that confirm you say that you're a Muslim or you're a believer. You're a believer. Excuse me. And now is a month that you can do things to confirm your faith. For you, not for someone else. For you. And that will be good for you. And fasting is better. And it's better if you do both. Now, fasting is better for you if you only knew. Because most Americans are too fat. Most Americans are overweight. Most adult Americans are overweight. And when most of us get our driver's license, the fat starts to come. Because we're not going to walk anymore. We're not going to ride bikes anymore. We get that car. Once we get that car, the fat comes on. Everywhere we go, we're going to jump in the car and drive the car. At least for Detroit people. Because it's difficult to get around Detroit without a car. The city of Detroit was built. Its infrastructure is built upon the principle that everybody has to have a car. And once you get your car, the fat start pouring on because you're not walking anymore. You're not riding bikes anymore for transportation. This is the Americans. These are Americans. Where the fat people come to the soup kitchens. Only in America. Yes. So fasting is better for you if you only knew. أَنَّهُ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ, that it is better for you. فَافْعَلُوهُ, then do it. تِلْكَ أَيَّامٍ, these days. These days of Ramadan. Okay, that concludes our presentation today. A little technical, but I still hope and pray that you have benefited from it. So I'm going to open now for anyone that has a question on what has been presented. So you can unmute yourself. Those of you that are on the webinar, you can unmute yourself and press star 6 by pressing star 6 on your phone if you have a question. If you have a question. And those of you that are listening, let's see if I can bring you up. Yes. And those of you that are listening on Facebook, if you have a question, you can type your question in, and I believe I can see it, so I can answer your question. I will give you a little time if you have a question to type in from what has been presented. So I see no questions at this time. So this will complete our presentation for today. And God willing, next week, next Wednesday, on this topic, we will continue in the Qur'an on this topic. Peace be upon you all. Assalamu alaikum. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen.